Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Outside the Cinema. It's your weekly source for cult movie discussions. We're your hosts. I'm Bill. That's Chris. Say hello to the listeners, Chris.
Hello, despite your best efforts, I am back.
Despite my best efforts? What did I? I didn't do anything.
Somebody's, I don't know.
I didn't do anything. I even allowed us to delay recording this week for you. But yes, welcome back to the show. It's been a week so far. We're recording late this week, so Patreon did not get the show early like it usually does. So apologies if you're listening there and you're just getting into it. It's been a hot week here in Massachusetts, one of the hottest we've ever had, actually. 100 degrees plus for multiple days, which is not something that happens up here very often at all. First time in 5 years, I think they said that we actually hit over 100 degrees.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Something like that. It was something, I mean, I don't know if exactly, but it was like an extended time since we've actually had over 100 actual degrees, not just the like feels like temp or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, we hit, I think somewhere, was it yesterday, hit 104? Was it Worcester or somewhere? Hit 104, and it's it was the highest ever.
Yeah, for now.
For now, yes, for now. Currently, though, Boston, they said the last time, the highest ever was, I think, 104 in Boston, and they said it was like 1911.
Okay.
So, for those of you who think that global warming is real.
Yeah, because having it happen every year after year from like 1995 on is the same as it happening once in 150 years.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. I don't see an issue with your logic.
Well, neither do I.
Alrighty, let's this week on the show we're in the midst of doing revisits. We are revisiting Just Before Dawn, which for me was a revisit. It was an episode that Chris was not on originally in a film that he wanted to check out, so it worked out good then, correct?
Yeah, actually, I think so.
All right.
At first, no was the answer to that.
At first, no. First, no. No, he's a no.
No.
And we also revisited A Field in England, which is originally brought to us via Patreon. And we revisited. I meant to get the episode numbers for these, and I didn't. But it's been a while. Both of them have been at least probably 8 to 10 years since we...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not Field in England. Maybe... Well, actually, no, it's probably close to that now, too, I bet.
That was 14, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Or 16, something like that. It was close.
We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah, I'll look it up when I have to.
Yeah, so but yeah, so that's what we're doing this week. If you are a Patreon member, thank you for supporting the show. If you're not, join the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/outsidethecinema. Monthly donation can get you access to early shows, our full show archive, which if anyone needs a link for, let me know. I realized I hadn't sent it out to anyone recently, so if you're looking for the link to get into the show archive, let me know and I can email it to you. Get the shows early, get the show archive. There's a bunch of exclusive content in there that you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, just keep us alive. You keep podcasters that don't get brand deals alive.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and
sorry about that.
No, I mean, yeah, we tried the brand deal thing, and it's just
no. I mean, it's probably my fault why they don't call. So
no, I don't think it's your fault at all. I know it's your fault.
No, okay.
No, but like, I mean, we do. I mean, we had some. It just what companies do to the little guy to make you make a buck is insane. Like the hoops you have to jump through to make like $20 is not worth it.
That's true.
So
that is true. Yeah.
Sorry if you want us to peddle headphones for you, or if you want us to peddle bootleg shirts that are like not nice bootleg shirts, because I got a lot of nice bootleg shirts, don't get me wrong. But if you want to peddle DHgate junk, sorry, we're not there for that. But we are there here to talk about movies. No Joe this week. He had 1,000,005 things going on too. Scott will join us later in the show per the norm. I think that's really kind of it. We can probably just get into these right out of the gate here. Chris, do you have a preference on which one we cover first?
No, because they're so different. It's a different frame of mind for each one. So
they really could not be more different. For once, you are 100% correct.
Finally, 19 or whatever years later.
I know, right? All right. Well, we're going to go with A Field in England first because that's the one that is in front of me. 2013. So I'm pretty sure we covered it in 2014 originally. So it's a trailer.
Sense, yeah.
Whitehead! I know you're there!
Do not concern yourself with bravery and I, Whitehead. It is sufficient. You are my prisoner.
I think I have worked out what God is punishing us for. Everything.
Yanisha! We have the treasure!
If you do not cease, we may be blasted by an ill planet.
You cannot escape the fate, Whitehead! Then I shall become it! I shall consume all the ill fortune which you are set to unleash!
I shall chew up all the selfish scheming and ill intentions that men like you force upon men like me!
What do you see, friend?
Nothing. Perhaps. Only shadows.
Okay, A Field in England. 2013, directed by Ben Wheatley, starring Julian Barrett, Peter Ferdinando, Richard Glover, Ryan Pope, and Reese Shearsmith, among others. All right. This is a film that was brought to us. I mean, we had heard of it because it was one of the very well-reviewed and well-regarded festival films of 2013 and 2014. And we've done some Ben Wheatley stuff. We did Kill List back in the day, which I loved. Sightseers is quite good. Free Fire was really good. I didn't realize that he directed Meg 2, The Trench.
Huh.
Interesting.
It could have been a fun experience. Who knows?
I mean, it was actually a pretty fun movie. The two Meg movies weren't bad. Anyway, but
For what they were, right?
for what exactly. Yes, exactly. Ben Wheatley's a solid director and has worked on some really cool stuff. And I remember when we watched this, I absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I don't remember how. I know it made me really uncomfortable.
You enjoyed it more than I did, for sure. But
Up until the seizure reel happens.
Yeah.
Which, okay, yeah. So, yeah, I think I was kind of cold on it, but not as much as you.
No, you didn't love it, but you did. I think you didn't hate it. I just really didn't like it, which is strange because I do really like folk horror movies, and I like arty, pretentious shit a lot of times. But there's a way to do arty, pretentious and make it entertaining, and then there's a way to do it and just make it infuriating.
Yeah.
But in the years, the 10 years plus since we watched it, I haven't revisited it. I see it come up. I see it come up a lot of times when people are talking about like their favorite, new millennium genre flicks or like, really cool, like in case you missed it, stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it another shot.
Yeah.
Because people that I respect really like this movie. So maybe I missed something. Maybe I hit it at the wrong time or not. But either way, we're going to get into it now. All right. So storyline for this is very simple. And I feel like most pretentious movies are like that. Pretentious art movies are like that anyway. Whereas like, because everything's light on story. It's just about visuals. And visually, this movie is very, very engaging. So it takes place in 17th century England amid the English Civil War of the time period. We get a group of deserters that find their way together after, fleeing from battle and not wanting to be involved in the war anymore. And they walk a ways and they end up in this overgrown field that's got mushrooms and all kinds of crazy stuff going on in it. They're led by an alchemist named Whitehead, who is good with different medical things. Was an alchemist. So,
Yeah. So everybody believes he's really good at that.
yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, actually, Whitehead isn't the alchemist. It's the guy that's leading them that's the alchemist, right? Color.
Whitehead was the one that was looking for the guy they came across.
Right, exactly.
So he was studying under the master, and he was not as good as the guy that he was searching for.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember
Which
more
is
now that I'm
which is
on
Cutler,
medicine.
which is like the main guy.
Yeah,
Cutler.
yeah. He kind of looks like Ralph Ineson a little.
A little
but
bit,
You've
yeah.
seen him in other stuff. I know him from a lot of
Well,
stuff.
yeah, Ryan Pope has been in a ton of things over the years. He was in like Velvet Goldmine, and I think he's in Andor, isn't he?
I haven't done season 2, so I don't remember season 1.
Okay, I
Make
think
sense of that as you will.
I think he. And by think, I'm now looking at it in front of me and confirming, yes, he's in Andor.
Oh, okay. All right, good. That's a reason to watch it. I like it.
Yeah, well, there you go. So they're trudging along. They end up in this field, and then I don't know what the fuck happens. They're looking for a buried treasure again, or like it's
Every one of them has fallen under the influence of another person.
correct.
And what I think we have is class, social structure, what's expected of certain people of a certain education level. Like I think there's a lot of exploring that going on while we're doing the dude's got to find a treasure. Because that's just a complete MacGuffin to
Right.
show these people have mental breakdowns. Right? I mean,
Yeah. It's just the So watching this, I was reminded, because obviously in 2013 it hadn't been released yet, but The Lighthouse in this like have a lot of similarities to it,
Yeah.
not only in look and feel, but also just the like being under the influence of somebody else, and not necessarily being able to kind of step outside yourself to really look at what's going on.
yeah. Yeah.
Isolate, psychedelic stuff, isolation stuff, it all kind of melds itself together. So I was very much reminded of The Lighthouse, and I didn't particularly like The Lighthouse. I respected it, but I wasn't really a huge fan. And this film kind of is in that same world.
The Lighthouse, for me, it was not what I expected it to be. It was sold to me sort of as something else, I felt. So I just kind of, okay, I'll wait and go back to it.
Fair enough.
So,
So they are trying to get away from this battle. It's not really kind of given who they are in the war. Like, there's not a whole lot of like, are they soldiers or like what exactly
right.
their place in it is, other than we know at the beginning when we first meet Whitehead, he has a guy that is basically like, you told me you were going to find this treasure for me. And you haven't yet. And now I'm going to kill you. And then that's where he hooks up with Trower and Jacob and these other guys. And it really just like so they just kind of meander around
Yeah.
with no real like clear path on what the point of everything is.
Yeah, because every time they decide to do something, there's another person that's higher up the ladder that shows up and is like, no, we're going to do this.
Yep.
And then everybody changes everything they're doing.
Yep.
And then they go and do that. And that fails. And then it's basically this is Lord of the Flies with a couple of guys being real dumb. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a this guy is dressed better. He has more weapons on him. He seems better spoken and more intelligent. He has to be in charge. And no, not really, because he's a fucking maniac. Like, take that into consideration.
Yeah. So your overarching character of O'Neill, who is the head alchemist guy, he reeks of that English monarch class system thing where when he shows up, he's the guy that's just running everything, like you said. He's the guy that is full on, arrogant and, has full power over everybody. But he's going to enslave them. And he's also going to pass judgment if he wants to pass judgment. And like, these guys don't know him. So
No,
it's like,
no, it's just like, okay, guy, what? Who are you? And he doesn't care. He's just, you're doing this. And they're like, all right, I fucking guess so. All right. And it's really interesting to me because you could put a bunch of different things on this. It could be the government, it could be education, it could be the church keeping education and books away from people, keep the ignorant people where they are. But the funny thing to me is even the smartest person here would be the dumbest fucking simpleton 10 years later in that world.
Right. And it's all
And
very,
now, ugh.
I mean, it's all very allegorical too in its way of the class system and how like Whitehead as like the religious alchemist scholar type guy who's studying a lot of this stuff is the like representing the rebellion, I guess, and how like as you get further and deeper into it and the more arrogant and egotistical that O'Neill gets, the more that the rest of them look to Whitehead to be the guy to be like, what the fuck's going on here? Like,
yeah. But he also feels empowered that when he doesn't know the answer to something, he can just make it up. And people do that.
oh
And
yeah, I've never seen
That's
that
how
happen.
that's how you get people drinking Flavor Aid down in the jungle. Flavor Aid people.
That's how you get people drinking bleach during a pandemic.
Not enough.
Not enough is
Elon
true.
didn't drink bleach. Smartest man in the world.
Drank something else. So as the film kind of plays on and it gets more like psychedelical and like there's the thing where he eats all the mushrooms and it's a situation where like, okay, now we got like a trip scene going on, but like everything just kind of fucking happens without like, I don't even know what the word I want to use is.
I don't know. You could be going anywhere. Reason, explanation.
Yeah, well,
Payoff.
I feel like films like this, your decisions all have to be incredibly deliberate in what you're doing. But in this one, I didn't get that feeling. I got that feeling of a more like, well, let's just fucking try it.
with the people in the film, right? Or
Both. The characters and how they actually act, and also in the writing of the film of like, well, let's see what happens if we do this.
okay.
And rather than rewrite it and be like, okay, that doesn't make any sense, we'll just reset. Because there's like all these weird scenes where everyone is standing still to look like a pose, like a posed photo.
like a classical Renaissance painting. you
Right.
know?
But they're not. They're awake
Yeah.
and like breathing and
My art
slightly moving.
history isn't at all what it ever should have been. So I don't know if they're sort of recreating famous pieces that would give you an idea of what's going on. Like, I feel like the more I know about that time period, the more I'll benefit
Oh, sorry.
from watching it.
Right.
But for me, this time around, the last time I watched it, I seem to remember about 4.5 days of flashing images. And this time it was literally like 2 minutes at most. It felt, though, this whole movie this time felt completely different to me. I actually kind of could zero in and figure it out finally.
Yeah, I think I was able to kind of like lock in a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I'd read a little bit about it afterwards too, about how it's supposed to, or supposedly it parallels the fall of Charles I, and how Whitehead's character is supposed to represent the Puritan Revolution, and there's like all these kind
That
of like,
makes sense with the way he's dressed.
yeah, with like all these different like little similarities that are like thinly veiled things, and not being not being English, and so maybe not knowing that history. Like I didn't catch that the first time I watched it.
Yeah, it's not like I just last night we watched Starship Troopers. It's not like it's that kind of social satirical commentary, because I don't know the 1600s or 17th century, and but if he does, great. There's something there.
Yeah,
So,
it's
I kind of backed off a little bit of my hate for it because I don't know the subject matter, so I don't know. It was incredibly well acted. There's a bunch of stuff I got out of it, and that theme. I've been thinking about theme songs and like what music fits what movie perfectly. This is one of those. That theme is so like light.
I don't know where that's
and
coming from.
depressed at the same time. It's just, I don't know. That's the whole feel of the movie, and those like 12 notes you hear
Yeah.
was weird.
It's all weird. It's all weird. But
And there's the whole thing. Did they cross into a fairy circle, which Rip was watching it with me, and she called it in like the first 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, yeah, fairy circle out of mushrooms. Yeah. LSD. There you go.
yeah, what I
think
got
it's-
was that
Yeah.
the field is supposed to like represent like your like transition to the afterlife.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
I mean,
what I
There's
got
a
out of
lot.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
again,
hate to say this, but so that they're in a liminal space. There we go.
there we go.
There's a Backrooms movie.
Yeah. There is. I can't. We'll see. Kid that's
No, I
directing
meant
it
this is the prequel to the Backrooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
It started in that field.
But there is a few. I mean, there's a few things in this movie as you watch it, though. Like one thing is the look of it is incredible. The way it's shot is awesome. The way it kind of like feels is really good. Obviously, excellent cinematography to go along with the photography in it.
The black and white, I think, does way more for the grit and the reality of it than a color print would have.
Right. And I don't know why, but I thought I had remembered during the like really crazy trip scene that it turned the color. But it doesn't.
No.
Maybe that's because I was looking at the poster.
Though? I did notice, and it could be the difference between how the film was shot and the TVs we're watching it on, but it did almost feel like there was like a chromatic shimmer at one point where I saw a little green, but with the light coming through the window at the angle and the swamp gas off the shadow of Venus, I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
So it wasn't vivid color, I can tell you that, but you stare at black and white long enough, your brain's going to fill in the spaces.
That's true. That's true. And I think the acting in it is very, very good too. Like I think, but it's just for me, it's just not something I could really sink my teeth into for whatever reason. Like, and like I said, I usually love like the weird arty shit. Although I feel like I've been saying that I usually love the weird arty shit, but didn't like this more often than not now.
It's okay to say, I thought I liked this kind of stuff. But clearly,
Clearly, I'm incorrect.
no, there's a bunch you like.
I sure hope so. But again, like, so like, I think we can probably grade it now, but like, there's not like there's not like a whole lot to say about it.
No, it's because it's all visual, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And I think that my opinion of what happened in the tent is more hallucinogenic, psychological torture from the other guy.
Okay.
I don't think because he has not a single mark on him, so I think it was all existential torture that sent him into that martyr's state where he could like go look for the treasure. Because that guy, holy shit, the look on his face when he came out of the tent, that's the most chilling transformation I've seen in a character. Because he was just rabid. It was madness. It was scary. He was fantastic.
yeah,
So-
that's Reese Shearsmith, who's been in a bunch of stuff. He's actually also in Ben Wheatley's not Kill List, High Rise, which is another
okay.
Ben Wheatley flick that I really enjoyed.
So, yeah, that really impressed me. And the screaming. His screaming doesn't sound like painful screaming. It sounds like his soul's being shredded in front of him.
Maybe, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty,
But I wanted to, I don't know what I said last time, but I wanted to say this is how I'm thinking of it now. And that seemed kind of really, that's like the break in the middle of the film. And then it just goes on a wild ride. And I think I liked it a lot more. Not in I'm going to watch that again, but I respect it, and it's trying to tell me stuff I have no idea about, so I have research to do, which is fine, because I like that.
I
But
wish
it
I could
doesn't
figure out where that's coming from. You're hearing
But
that,
it-
right?
What?
That sound? That like bling?
No.
Oh, you're not hearing it? Oh, don't worry about it.
No. Okay. So, yeah, I think as a film, I think it's we're looking from me a B- or a B+ or an A- because it's beautifully acted. The costumes, the location, the feel of it, the music, all of it is amazing to watch.
Okay.
I just don't understand the story yet, and I'm not going to be embarrassed to say that. Because why? Why pretend I know what's going on? I'll just say, hey, if you know, write to the show. I'm never going to know everything.
Hopefully not.
No, because then vampires would be real, and I'd be about 15,000 years old.
Fair.
That's the only way I would learn everything. So yeah, I'll go with a recommend, but know that it's on the weird side of the folk horror, and it's definitely set in the past.
Okay.
And A-. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming at it from a different mindset because I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it that recommend based on its look, its feel, its acting. If you like Ben Wheatley stuff, then you really should check it out. Ben Wheatley makes kind of weird. I mean, we makes weird movies, but also at the same time, he makes very digestible movies. So it's
weird.
He's a director that can do a lot of different things, and I love that. And I love that he's a director that I don't have to love everything that he makes. Like when we were talking about Romero, when we were talking about There's Always Vanilla, whereas like you can love George Romero and hate some of his movies. You can love Lucio Fulci and be like, some of the stuff he made was garbage.
Yeah, because it's the truth.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
And if you love them all, that's great. That's not how my brain works.
No. I watch something that's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
know.
saying that you love every Stephen King book. No, Stephen King has made some crap.
Yeah. Even he knows it. He'll tell you right to your face.
Oh,
This
yeah.
one right here.
What's the one is it The Girl That Loved Tom Gordon? Is that the one that he's always like, don't read that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't read them anymore, so.
I haven't read. Yeah. Either way. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm recommending it in that sense of like, if it's, you like the arty stuff, you like Ben Wheatley, you like English folk style horror, then okay, yeah. But it's not a film for everybody because it is a pretty infuriating watch because narratively it doesn't tell a story in a very concise way. And then you have to kind of like really suspend your belief and kind of just fill in a lot of like things yourself to be like, okay, I guess this is what's going on. But that's done purposely. That's exactly what the film is trying to do there. So I can't hate on that because I think I really believe that when Ben Wheatley made this movie, he made the movie he wanted to make and didn't give a fuck what anyone thought about it.
Oh, yeah, no, this definitely says the studio just was like, all right, fine, whatever, dude.
So, but I'm not going to grade it high because I don't like it.
That's fair.
So I can't fail it because it's not, no, you can't. But I also can't give it a high grade because I didn't enjoy it. So we're going to say C-. I did enjoy it more this time watching it because I knew what I was in for, but I'm still not on that boat of loving it and being like, make sure you see this before you die or like, like I'm no. But I definitely did enjoy it more.
Good.
Cool.
I think
All
it was worth the time for me this time.
Oh, for sure. I wasn't mad that I watched it again,
Right.
which
That's our baseline right there. I wasn't pissed off.
wasn't too mad. So, all right. So the other film we're doing this week, Just Before Dawn from 1981. Here's a trailer for that.
Run for your life. The nightmare has begun. It will find you in the hour when dream and reality merge. The last desperate moment of darkness.
All right, who is it?
Just before dawn. They were warned.
At least tell me where you're going, so that when you don't come back, I'll know how to fill out the report.
But they did not understand the warning. They came to the mountain for adventure and escape. What they found was a trial which only the strongest could survive. How could they know that beneath the awesome beauty of nature lay violence, danger, and death?
You seen all the blood?
How could they know the heat of their bodies was the magnet that would draw the terror to them?
No more devils. No more. There's no more nothing out there. Just a god little creature.
You saw them kids?
I seen him down by Lake. I see her again.
I got a good mind to just let them have their due.
Just before dawn comes horror. Just before dawn comes death. Rated R.
Okay. Just Before Dawn, 1981. Now, not the first, obviously, redneck, inbred, backwood horror movie, but one of the earlier ones. You know, you had, I think, Hills Have Eyes was before this. Obviously, then in the future, you know, you had stuff like Wrong Turn and like things like that. But this is in that backwoods horror world.
Yeah.
And it's early, and it's fairly early because it's predating the slasher. It's just barely predating the slasher boom of the 80s. But either way, directed by Jeff Lieberman, renowned director of Satan's Little Helper and Squirm.
How is Satan's Little Helper? That pops up all the time.
Oh, have you never watched it?
No.
It's all right.
It's a guy. It's the guy in the mask with devil mask with the little kid, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll give that a shot then. Knowing this guy that did it, that's fine.
He also wrote Blue Sunshine.
I always like that title for some reason.
I think he directed it too. Yeah, he did direct it. So he directed Blue Sunshine. He directed Squirm, The Ringer.
Wait, the Johnny Knoxville movie, The Ringer?
No. 1972.
Oh, okay.
It's basically the urban legend of like the person calling in the house or whatever.
Oh, okay.
He did not direct Satan's Little Helper. He worked on the screenplay for it.
Oh, okay. Still, yeah.
So either way, all right. So Jeff Lieberman made a couple of Blue Sunshine was excellent. I
haven't seen it.
No, we reviewed it on the show.
I don't think I was on that show.
All right, then. Well, we should have chosen.
Let me look it up. I'll see. Because I don't know. I don't remember half this shit.
No, I understand that. Blue Sunshine was great, though.
Oh, fuck. Hold on a second. Oh, I hit a button and Apple Music opened up. Like, what the fuck? I'm not using you for music right now, guys. Come on. What were you saying? Sorry.
The Blue Sunshine was good.
Yeah, that's
I enjoyed
right.
it.
I was just going to look up this the thing. Yeah, okay.
It's got a very memorable poster.
Yes.
So, all right. But getting back to Just Before Dawn, directed by Jeff Lieberman, starring George Kennedy, Mike Kellen, Chris Lemmon, Greg Henry, Deborah Benson, Ralph Seymour. This is, backwoods horror, man. You got a group of five young people in their mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
Going out to the backwoods of, I think Oregon, or it says Oregon here. I don't remember whether they said that or not, but
that sounds right. Yeah.
And apparently, one of them has ownership of some land up there, so he's going up there to check out the property and figure out what's going on. But he runs across an inbred family, and they don't want them there.
Yeah, I mean the tropes come from real places.
They do.
So
they do.
One.
So Just Before Dawn is one of those. It's not lost by any stretch of the imagination, but it is one of those horror movies from the early 80s that ended up getting run into a whole bunch of weird stuff that was like rights issues that came up, and it was unavailable for an extended amount of time. And it's actually not available currently on any streaming services, from what I can tell, and it hasn't been released on Blu-ray. I don't think, other than I know there was briefly a DVD, and I think I saw that there's a new Blu-ray coming of it.
Okay, but
it's not one that's well known, and but it's one that I think if you're a horror fan, you've heard of because it's mostly really the time period. I think probably more than anything, but we also used to play the radio trailer of this a lot on the show.
Yeah.
So those of you, the guys that didn't listen to the show in the first like 3 or 4 years, we used to have a very kind of like radio format where we would do a review and then we would play a break. But the break was always a classic radio commercial of a film, which was cool. I just don't have the patience to do that anymore.
Other stuff.
But Just Before Dawn was one of the ones that we used to play every now and then. So, and that trailer that we just played is a great trailer too. So, but this film lives 100% on the atmosphere that it builds in the woods and the what's just out of sight and the weird whistle in the distance and all of that. What this film doesn't really have, unfortunately, is a really strong narrative in terms of the two killer inbred brothers and kind of like their place, where they came from, why they're there, all those things. We know that the family lives there, but there's really not a whole lot given to it. There's a like couple little brief things where George Kennedy, who plays like the park ranger guy, makes mention of, oh, well, that's why the old man didn't want to say anything or whatever. But there's really not like a history or like anything, right? Am I wrong?
It's just they're up there. Don't fucking bother them.
Not even just like just don't go up there.
Yeah.
Just don't go up there.
Yeah.
I know it's not exciting.
No, it's really actually a boring intro, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, I got land. Let's go check it out. Yeah, don't go there. Yeah, no, we're gonna. Okay.
Yeah.
There, and then the movie goes.
Yeah, and it's the type of thing where they're just kind of stalking these kids in the woods. And most of these are actors like Greg Henry. So when you see them, you're going to recognize them. Chris Lemon, these are all guys that have done like a whole bunch of work. So this is, thing where you got like George Kennedy, who's, an icon even at this point.
Right.
So the idea of like the dangerous woods and just being like, nope, fuck you. We're going to go and do what we want to do anyway.
Yeah.
The thing that was most unbelievable about the whole thing, though, was them trying to drive that fucking joke of an RV like through the woods.
I didn't even think of that.
Like, that's not a vehicle you want to be driving through like mud and stuff. Like,
no. Oh. Well, people aren't smart sometimes, and you gotta have dumb people for horror movies to happen, right?
Yeah. Excuse me. As you can tell, it's very exciting. So they do the classic slasher of like slowly picking these people off one by one. Like somebody gets touched under the water when they're swimming in the river or whatever, and then the other guy's outside of the water, and she's like, Ricky, stop, and he's like, I'm over here, and then she's like, there's somebody in the water, and then they both die, and then so it's very paint by numbers but at the time it wasn't paint by numbers because it was one of the earlier ones. We've all just seen this happen so many times since then in the 40 years since it was released or whatever, 42, 43 years since it was released, that we like, it isn't effective. But if you put yourself in the mindset of film goer in 1981, you haven't seen all this stuff before.
Right.
So this is kind of a tough one because I do remember really enjoying it on my first watch, but I didn't get that enjoyment out of it this time because it was just kind of like, oh, everything's moving a little too slow. And there's not quite enough gore to go with your violence.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's you go back and watch even Nightmare on Elm Street would be a little slow at times. That one's paced way better than some other ones. But, I mean, yeah, this is early, and this is, I keep saying but I'm not saying anything. The average review is just like 0.3 under 70. So that's not bad. 6.7, that's above average. And at first the giant twins, I'm like, oh, but it just kind of worked. Everybody knew the assignment, and they brought the right amount of ham with them, and everybody seems like they were just into it. Like, hey, we're gonna do this weekend, but it was like a big thing. So
right. The version I watched was the original DVD print of it, and it is very dark. Tough to make out. I don't know which version you watched. I know there was.
Let me see if I can find the version.
So there was a Blu-ray released in 2018 that was not repressed because of rights issues. So I got to assume that Blu-ray version looked better than this, because this was very dark and very grainy and really kind of tough to make out anything that wasn't being shot in the daylight. So I think
that's Shudder.
Oh, it is on Shudder.
It is. Maybe not like 2 days ago, but it is now.
Oh, okay.
79 minutes. I don't know how long. I think. Let me just check this other file, because I did not watch it on Shudder.
I didn't realize it was available on Shudder. When I looked the other day, it wasn't listed on anything.
I have an uncut, it says. Get the whole thing here. Uncut 720 Blu-ray rip.
Okay, so you watched the Blu-ray. I watched the DVD.
Okay.
Well, doesn't matter
This is
anyway.
an hour 30, so there's a little bit more.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's a little bit more of Dark Woods.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thoughts on the deformed inbred killers?
I think they were fine for low-budget movie making. I mean, I've seen worse.
Yeah. We've seen better, too, though, so.
That is true. They are literally just a passable. They weren't trying to create a Megan or an Art or a Chucky or any of that. It was just, here's the murderers.
Or even like Ezra Buzzer from the Wrong Turn films. Or no,
Oh,
Ezra,
yeah, okay.
Was he? No, he was in the Hills Have Eyes.
I don't know their names.
We met him. We met Ezra Buzzer at Rocket Shock a couple of times. Nice guy.
Okay.
Nice guy.
Okay.
But like, yeah, they weren't trying to create these like hideously deformed creature type people like you get in Wrong Turn. They were like inbred hillbilly dummies.
It was the Forest version of The Hills Have Eyes, not the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, where their radiation mutated. It's just a little bit of inbreeding, a little bit like Jugface in 25 years.
Like Jughead.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, it's like the look of it's fine. It's shot like a generic slasher. It's directed like a generic slasher. It's got the feel.
It is definitely not aspiring to something it can't be.
No, it's all. But I think that it holds up pretty well, all things considered. The problem is, it's just we've seen it done so many times now.
Yeah, and that's like with Giallos. That's the thing too. Like you got to sort of maybe even watch them in order of release so you can see who was just glomming on, who had good ideas. But you jump around and you just gotta temper the expectation, right? With how far into it was.
Yeah. Donnie's watching live and he said the Satan's Little Helper was on the Joe Bob show, on Joe Bob's Last Drive-In last year.
Okay.
Had the director on for the segments in between. So there you go. You can check it out that way.
I like to see from him. Yeah.
Cool. And this actually, the revisiting was Donnie's idea, so it was kind of cool that he's watching live with us today. So, all right, well, let's just grade this one then. All right, Chris, Just Before Dawn, do you recommend, and what is your grade?
Yeah, I'm going to recommend it because it's nice and early in the whole serial killer cycle, and I think it's interesting. This is going to go well, I think, with our final terror review that we'll do in a week or whatever.
Yep.
Because that's like the last couple ones that are like spoken about, you know, in the groups of the these are the ones that were just as good but didn't get attention.
Right.
Does that make sense? Was this?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So a C+.
C+. Okay.
It's perfectly fine. You're not gonna hate it. You might hate the noise one of the giant guys makes, but don't worry, it's not the whole time.
Doesn't last long.
No. Thankfully,
yes. All right. I guess I'll still recommend it. It doesn't do anything really wrong. It just doesn't do anything special. And again, 1981. It's early in that cycle, so. When it was released, you hadn't seen this done 1,000 times, so it hits differently now than obviously it did then. It's really kind of funny, I think, when you think about how a film was received when it was released, as opposed to how it's received when you're currently watching it. Yeah. And it's the type of thing where like something that was super, super groundbreaking you've never seen before, and now you watch it, you're like, I don't understand what the big deal is. That's what a lot of people say like about The Exorcist. It's like The Exorcist was the scariest movie ever made.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah. You watch it now and you're like, I've seen episodes of whatever TV show that are scarier.
Yeah.
Like, American Horror Story is scarier than that. Like, well, yeah, things change, man. But in 1973, 71, 72, whenever
it's one of the odd years, yeah.
Whenever it was released, it fucking blew people's minds because they'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
So, but this is kind of the same thing. But I can't hate on it too much because, again, it doesn't do anything wrong. It's shot like a slasher. It feels like a slasher. Acting is, subpar like in a slasher. And it's just the type of thing where it's like you gotta get to, know what you're getting into with it. So I'm going to give it a C straight just because, again, nothing really great about it, but nothing really wrong about it. And I think, 10 years or whatever since reviewing it originally, like I've seen also probably another 200 to 300 slasher films since then. So it's like I've had that hammered home that many more times. So
yeah, that's a
there
good
you
point.
have it. And apparently it's available on Shudder, even though I watched a friggin' bullshit friggin' DVD rip of it that I had sitting on a hard drive.
The times we've done that.
Yeah. I think I watched the version that we watched originally because it was still on one of my hard drives. Anyway, speaking of hard drives.
Wait. I got a thing.
Oh, okay.
I got an actual thing this week. So, I've been doing something since 3-4 years ago. So, like I draw and I do artwork and shit. And I'm going to be really, really bad at this. But
do fart work?
Yes. And
Nice.
artwork. So,
Someone say it is hard work.
We have a website, spectopiaarts.com, and it will direct you to the Etsy store where I have, and this was a coincidence, 42 pieces right now.
Nice.
Of different characters I've done. There's ghosts and devils, and there'll be other stuff like cryptids and cosmic things that come in. I have them all drawn. But tomorrow, because we just finalized the logo, I thought, okay, we need an announcement video. I don't want to be on video. So I'm going to, let's see Google. Great. No, hold on. Let me see if I can get this to work because I don't know how to share my screen. So here, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
That's one of my little ghost guys.
Cool.
His name is Ix, and he's like sort of the mascot.
Right.
So in the video that you can't see, I learned how to animate, and I have a little ghost inside a portal that opens and closes, and then right there at the end it'll have the website and the logo, which of course is going to be a lime green S in a black triangle because, I mean, come on.
Because yeah.
So there's a bunch of I'm gonna be honest. Looking at them, I don't know what's going on in my head, but I actually feel like I got something here.
The stuff is really cool.
And yeah, so it's that Spectopia. We have an Instagram that we haven't done a thing with, like none of it. But my 999th post on Instagram, which is the next one I'll do, is going to be that video.
Cool.
So it should be tomorrow.
Nice.
And if you go there and you look and see something you like, but it's not on a shirt or a color you like, there's an email address, spectopiaarts@gmail.com. Just write that and say, hey, can you put it on this? And we will.
Dope. Love
there
it.
you go.
Love it.
And then with some coming up, nobody has any idea what I'm talking about, but we'll offer some kind of mix and match, put these dudes together on a shirt.
Love it.
Yeah. So it was a big big fucking project.
Sounds it for sure.
It took a lot longer than we anticipated to get it going. And we still don't have the banner or the avatar image on Etsy yet. We have placeholder ones, but so much to do, so many boxes to click, so many descriptions to write.
For sure. I think Donnie, is the site live yet? I think Donnie's looking at it.
That one, yeah, the Etsy one should.
Because he says, Chris, these shirts look awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Speaking of awesome.
Yeah.
Please don't scream. You're so beautiful.
Oh, so gross.
She said, don't scream.
Oh, shit.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
With Reverend Scott.
And here's the thing. I'm a huge fucking nut.
That was a good cut.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott, bringing you exactly what you want. Another fresh holy shit.
Who wouldn't want that?
Don't answer that. And this week I went to a movie that had fighting, explosions, fire, monstrous beasts, dismemberment, and cannibalism. And I decided to take my 7-year-old to see it with me too.
That always has the caveat of, yeah, was he really serious?
I'm dead serious, because last weekend I went to see the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. And I can almost guarantee 99% of you have seen the animated version of this already, so in that regard, you've already seen this one too.
That's what
Both
I
are
thought.
based on the same book, and a lot of the shots and camera angles and set and costume and creature designs were based on the animated movie as well.
It was eerily familiar.
So besides last weekend being a combo weekend of my daughter's 7th birthday and Father's Day, I was also very curious to see how DreamWorks would do with something Disney has been struggling to do, or at least struggling to do it in a way that isn't getting shit on all the time. The live-action remake is quite the hot-button topic. Even if your main star isn't spewing out politically charged statements on Twitter, or neckbeards aren't complaining about race-swapped or gender-swapped characters, Disney still manages to get so much else wrong with their live-action remakes that there's still plenty to complain about. I think old Walt Disney himself has just lost the passion for these movies.
It wasn't even half-assed. It was like 1/32nd assed. That's how shitty his plan was.
I was kind of worried about what I was going to get with a live-action version of an animated film that I personally love. Was I going to regret seeing yet another lazy remake and think,
dude, you had the benefit of the doubt. You did this to yourself.
All right, what exactly did we get this time? Well, let's first talk about the casting. Jay Baruchel's voice fit Hiccup in the 2010 version perfectly. And I'm happy to report Mason Thames sounds close enough, and more importantly, he has the kind of big-nosed, scrawny look as well as the timid attitude and demeanor you'd expect from Hiccup. You could really feel how he was desperate to make his dad proud, but he couldn't abandon his morals to do it.
What he did was just make himself feel worse.
Yeah.
Which I think made him feel better.
Maybe.
That's fucked up, right? But that could be.
Another standout character was Gobber the Belch, the interchangeable-handed, peg-legged blacksmith/dragon slayer trainer played by Nick Frost. Even more than the beard and the costume and the variety of hammers and giant axes they had attached to his elbow, he always just has these subtle, knowing looks that he gives. And it's his tone. He's every bit as entertaining and likable as the original was. Every scene, he just exuded that feeling of...
I'm actually having a lot of fun with it.
Then there's Stoic the Vast, Hiccup's father. A character that, to me, feels like, I don't know, like 2000's Professor X. To hear any other voice other than Patrick Stewart would feel not just like a huge miss, but downright criminal. This feels like a character Disney would have fucked up. But not DreamWorks. When you have a huge, hulking, loud, commanding father and leader voiced by Gerard Butler, how could you have anyone else but Gerard Butler play him? And thank God they did. He's amazing. You can see the anger on his face turn to frustration, which eventually turns to disappointment. Then what seems like Hiccup about to get murdered by his father leaves you feeling bad for both of them because they just don't understand each other.
Yeah, you get these moments where it seems like the father's about to take over, and then he backs off, or he walks away, or someone else says something, so that they don't ever really come to blows.
This feels like a return to form for Gerard Butler from the old days of 300. Like we have come back full circle to how I came to be known as Reverend Scott due to praying for Gerard Butler to stop doing fucking romantic comedies.
So good job, movie.
All the rest of Hiccup's friends and their parents were pretty great too, especially Astrid, played by Nico Parker.
Astrid?
She's confident, capable, but more importantly, believable as someone who could put aside her extreme competitive nature to actually help Hiccup when she felt like he was doing something that was the right thing to do. But what was the right thing to do?
I don't know.
Well, changing the tribe's attitude on dragons, of course. And luckily, the dragons were the most no-brainer thing that they could have gotten right. And in my opinion, they did. They may have had the same designs, but Toothless has never looked so amazingly real.
If I could have a dragon, first that one, Sarat, and then Toothless. Toothless is a good dragon. But yeah, I have a...
If I could have a dragon, it would be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ooh, what about Don the Dragon Wilson?
Focus, guys. Not even Ricky the Dragon Steamboat could fly like Toothless, and it may not necessarily be any more breathtaking to watch than the 2010 version, but it was still pretty incredible. This is one movie that I would have actually considered going back to see a second time just to see it in 3D.
Because you see stuff and you're like, oh shit, look out.
The integration of the CGI characters and elements were completely seamless. But as impressive as the CGI was, it was really the costumes and backgrounds that really floored me. They felt so visually interesting, like some actual time and effort went into making them feel coherent in the same world. It's like the costume and set departments really wanted to let you know,
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Hey, that's all that matters. Yeah. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
What's wild is that at times the live action nature of it made things a bit more intense, such as when Stoic first sees Toothless in their big arena and wants to slay him. My daughter was so worried that it might actually happen that she started crying. I, however, did not cry because I've already seen this before. But did I maybe get a little worried that they might throw us a curveball and let Leonidas behead Toothless?
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't. Sure, that one.
But when I was serious about the cannibalism, that giant-ass dragon hiding in the volcano eats at least one of the other dragons. They didn't seem to change anything in this, at least not that I noticed, which is yet another complaint Disney has faced many times. This live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon just seemed to have a lot of love and care put behind it. From the casting, acting, sets, costumes, and special effects to the devotion to the source material and also the original animated film.
Oh yeah? Watch this. And then fucking surprises everybody in the best way.
But here's the real question. Did we need this live-action remake? With the slew of recent Disney live-action slop, 99% of the time I would say, no, we didn't. And in the case of How to Train Your Dragon, I hate to say it, but the answer is still no.
There you have it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. In this case, for some reason, I kind of just don't care. I highly recommend this version. Not to say that the 2010 version is still not amazing and you should also watch that, but I think this one is definitely worth seeing too. Nothing about any of the decisions they made felt lazy to me, and I really appreciated that. So overall, I give it a B+. But how did you guys do last week? Well, with Faults, you spoiled the shit out of it. For God's sake, guys, it just came out 11 years ago. But luckily, I had already seen it, and I loved it. And I gave the movie and the review an A. And for 2012's Maniac, well, that movie also gets an A. I fucking loved it. Almost as much as the original, maybe just as much as the original. But as far as the review goes, well, let's just take a little listen.
But it just works.
Yeah, just like Peter Parker in Sin City, right? Wasn't he Kevin?
Yes. Yes.
Like, who thought Tobey Maguire could play any level of believable bad guy?
I'm sure that he can. Yeah, but he's not in Sin City. That was Elijah Wood too. That review could have been an A, but that little senior moment knocked you down to a B+.
We all know my memory sucks. I just demonstrated that a little while ago. I don't know how long ago.
I don't remember that.
I think that's all I got in me for this week. So until the next Cannibal Monster Kids movie, peace and love, guys. Holy shit with Reverend Scott.
Whoever had this idea is fucking brilliant because it fucking works.
That would be me.
I fucking hate it.
I don't know what fucking role I was thinking of him in.
I don't either, but I didn't catch it at the time either, so we're both at fault.
Yeah, I was wrong.
We've all been wrong.
Oh, wait, there it is. Seabiscuit. No.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can email us at outsidethecinema@gmail.com or reach out to Chris or I through Instagram at Cthulhu at OTCBill. Make sure you check out Chris's new website with his merch. Give it another plug, dude.
SpectopiaArts.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a .com
We're
thing.
selling stuff. We're gonna get more stuff up there. It's t-shirts and a couple things now, but it'll be all different stuff.
Wheeling and
tell
dealing.
me what you want.
Wheeling and dealing.
Yep.
Cool. Next week, let me scroll here and see. Strip nude for your killer and the final terror.
It's gonna be a good week.
And then the next week will be
like the third time we've reviewed Strip Nude for Your Killer.
And then the next week will be Death Dimension and The Ward.
Oh, the Holly Berry one?
No,
oh, God,
the
good.
John Carpenter, Amanda. Yeah.
Holly Berry.
Was she in it?
Hold on.
I'm convinced that a John Carpenter movie couldn't have been as bad as I remember that being. So
I don't know. Oh shit, no. What was the one that she was in?
Gothica.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
No.
Wait, that's Carpenter? The
no,
Ward?
The Ward's Carpenter. Yeah.
Oh shit.
All right, people.
The world is weird after your brain is clear.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
We'll talk to you guys next week.